Imagine that you've just arrived on your dream cruise vacation. Drinks in hand, the sun on your face, and 4,000 people sailing through paradise. Everything is going to plan, and just as you begin to relax, disaster strikes.
Thousands stranded at sea and living in squalor.
It's the worst in decades.
Passengers stranded for 5 terrible days.
A cruise nightmare.
The ship is on fire.
4,000 people are stuck on a cruise ship that is dead in the water.
We are screwed.
I would never expect having to poop in a red bag.
Oh no.
No.
What the is happening on this cruise ship?
In this video, we're diving deep into one of the most bizarre, unbelievable, and horrifying cruise disasters of the modern history. And if you haven't already seen, Netflix has just released a graphic documentary showing us an insight into the shocking events that took place on the infamous Carnival Triumph, also known as the Poop Cruise. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Now, whether you're into survival stories, cruise travel, or you just love a good what went wrong mystery, this story has it all. Failure, fear, frustration, and some pretty unflushable truths. So get ready and prepare yourself for what you're about to witness, because once you see how it all drastically unravels, you're not even going to believe that it even happened. Spoiler alert, it definitely did happen. And trust me, the worst part about all this wasn't even the plumbing, but we'll get to that later. Just before we get started though, I'm on a mission to grow the biggest cruise and travel channel on YouTube. I want to bring you guys the best content around, and your support goes a very long way. So of course, make sure you like and subscribe, turn that bell notification on so you don't miss any uploads, and let's grow a community together. Now we're done with that, let's continue with the video. The Carnival Triumph, built in 1999 at a cost of $410 million, was a 13-deck, 101,000-ton megaship. It could carry up to 3,700 passengers and had a crew of about 1,100. And on February the 7th, 2013, the Triumph set sail from Galveston, Texas, on what was planned to be a routine 4-day cruise to Mexico.
Welcome on board the beautiful Triumph.
We just love going on cruises. The food, the pool, the water slide. I mean, what more could you ask?
We were like, this is awesome.
The first 2 days were spent enjoying everything the Triumph had to offer. The parties, the unlimited food, and of course, the alcohol. Everyone was settling in nicely to their vacation. But on day 3, in the early hours of the morning, a loud, disturbing announcement comes through the speaker systems, waking everyone up in their cabins, confused as to what was happening. Within a matter of minutes, the guests quickly realise that there is a huge problem with the ship.
The ship is on fire.
A fire breaks out in the engine room. A mechanical failure in one of the generators caused flames to erupt. Now, as rare as fires are on cruise ships, they are always prepared and fitted with firefighting equipment. So the automatic suppression system kicks in, and thankfully, no one was hurt. At this time, the cruise director makes an announcement trying to calm down the guests and reassure that the fire has been contained and everything is under control.
There's no need to be at muster stations. We do ask at this time that you do proceed back to your staterooms, back to your cabins. As I say, there is a situation in the engine control room in the engine room, but it is under control. So we do ask that you please make your way back to your cabins at this time. There's no need to be waiting in the muster stations. Thank you.
Now, a fire on a cruise ship is undoubtedly the worst case scenario out in the open ocean. But as a crew member, we're trained intensively for all different types of scenarios that may occur. And in an emergency, crew will use code names for all different situations that may be happening on the ship. For example, the Alpha team you just heard. We use code names primarily to ensure that the guests remain calm and that panic is contained during an emergency. Unfortunately for the Triumph though, with everything happening so fast, and with the majority of the fire being inside the engine control room, it didn't just wipe out the engines. It wiped out everything. It managed to knock out the entire ship's electrical system. And because now they have no power, that basically means no propulsion, no lights, no aircon, and sadly, no plumbing. And just like that, the Carnival Triumph stopped being a vacation and started becoming a survival story.
It was terrifying.
Everyone's out for themselves. The lights go out.
After many hours of the ship being dead in the water and drifting miles away from course, the fire was finally contained, but the damage had already been done.
I'm telling you, it got bad fast.
Having 4,000 people on a ship with no flushing toilets was the next big issue they faced.
When power goes, that's it. Everything's out.
Now, the cruise director was given the task of unfortunately delivering to the guests that the toilets weren't working, and this is why it was named the Poop Cruise. Because of these red bags. These are the biohazardous bags, and basically they're used on the ship for medical, or if someone's sick, they're going to put their tissues in it, and then when it's trashed, it's all done separately so no one gets sick on the ship. The cruise director had to make the announcement saying that because the toilets don't flush, if you want to wee, you have to do it in the shower, and if you wanted a number 2, you put it in this and leave it outside the cabin.
We're going to deliver some red bags to your cabins, to the bathrooms if you can. If you need to do a number 2, you need to poop, please do it in the red bag and drop it off in the bins, in the corridors. And if you need to do a number 1, that's a wee, please do it in the shower. Thank you folks, and I'll be back with any more updated info.
And as shocking as it really was, let's see what the guests have to say about it.
People were using the restroom in little red plastic bags and throwing them out into the hallway.
We were in shock. We were like, I'm not using a red bag.
But the thing is you just don't eat.
Just on our deck alone, there were the biohazard bags.
lined up across the floor. We're talking about raw sewage at just the end of our deck alone. It was repulsive.
And even for the crew, just listen to this chef as he explains the horrific sightings that he finds within the toilets.
It was the most nastiest thing I have ever seen in my life. People were covering the poop with the toilet paper and then again pooping on top of it. So it was a layer after layer after layer. It was like a lasagna.
Human waste started backing up into the bathrooms. The smell becomes unbearable. Hallways started filling with liquid sewage as the ship rocks from side to side. Guests take it upon themselves to start sleeping on outside decks, building makeshift tents. Not because they want to stargaze, but because their rooms reeked of mold and waste.
It was the worst experience I've ever had. We thought we were going to die for a little.
Suddenly, everyone's out for themselves.
You could hear the panic.
In the middle of the Gulf of Mexico.
You could hear the panic.
We were starting to smell urine.
Oh my God.
It was terrifying.
Now this disaster wasn't just a flash in the pan, and by the time other Carnival cruise ships arrived at the scene to deliver supplies to the broken down ship, and by the time the emergency coast guards came to rescue the ship, tied it up and pulled it all the way back to shore, the ship was totally immobilized for 3 days, stuck out in the open ocean.
It's like something that came out of a nightmare movie.
The snowball has started to roll, and there's no stopping it.
And by the time the ship had reached the shore, it had already made the headlines.
And we're getting some shocking new video tonight from aboard a Carnival cruise ship.
Days and days of misery.
Is this the worst cruise ever?
This incident is the worst in decades. But
the media exploded with the Triumph story, all competing against each other for the most attention-grabbing headlines and outrageous quotes.
Talk to us! Come on over! I'm speechless. It's just really great to finally be back in America and on land.
The media frenzy, driven by the horrific truths that the guests faced on the Triumph, will become Carnival's largest PR disaster ever.
Clearly, we failed.
Oh my God, the worst, degrading, demoralizing.
As the ship was pulled into the small port of Mobile, waiting on dry land were family members desperate to reconnect with their loved ones after this horrific event.
She said it was terrible. She said, Mama, when everybody get off this bus, everyone's probably going to have a little psychological help.
Also waiting on the dock was Carnival CEO Jerry Cahill, sincerely apologising about what the guests had to go through during their stay on the ship. This is what he had to say.
And I'd like to reiterate the apology I made earlier. I know the conditions on board were very poor. I know it was very difficult, and I want to apologize again for subjecting our guests to that. We pride ourselves in providing our guests with a great vacation experience, and clearly we failed in this particular case.
Many other Carnival officials were not willing to answer any further questions to the press at this time.
Gutman from ABC News, thank you for taking the time today. But I wonder if you could take a few more questions, like, do you really? You're running away!
Shortly after the disaster, Carnival gave the guests a full refund, $500, free accommodation and flights home, and reimbursed all expenses on board.
Land has never felt so great. Yeah. But we are incredibly grateful for a crew that served us in such unselfish ways, doing things that are unthinkable, and they were just so kind-hearted and with smiles the entire time.
I think it's safe to say that the guests on board Carnival Triumph will always remember this vacation, but sadly, probably for all the unflushable reasons.
There's dookies on the wall, man. How does Dookie get on the walls? How does that happen? Okay, all right,
Well, guys. I think that's going to bring us to the end of the video. I could have gone way further into detail with the poop cruise disaster, but honestly, I didn't want to completely ruin it for you. So if you're interested in seeing the full documentary, it's now out on Netflix, and after hearing all these shocking details, I'm pretty sure you're going to want to watch it with your own eyes. But at this time, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't already, then please subscribe and help me get my channel to as many people as possible. Make sure you guys like and press the bell notification so you don't miss any uploads. And if you guys have any thoughts on how you would have dealt with being on that poop cruise, then make sure to leave it in the comment section. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.